Yo, I forgot to pull down the thing. One second. Uh-oh. It froze for me. I don't know if it froze for you all. And also this, you can see the little thing in the corner there. There we go. It's like perfectly distanced and stuff. I did not measure it that closely. That's how it happened. Okay, so I have to admit I did something over the weekend. I worked on some stuff. So let me explain some of the stuff that I did. Because there were learnings and stuff that learnings and stuff that I totally should have included you all in, and I did not. So the problem that we had last week was if you go to KCD staging fly.dev, it just sits here forever. And the health check endpoint also did. And the reason the health check endpoint sat there forever is because part of the health check is actually to hit the home page with a head request, just to make sure that the home page can return a response. I felt like that's a pretty reasonable health check, is like, can it return a response? And so this would take forever because the home page would take forever. The reason for that, and actually, hold on a second. If I go here, yeah, some other pages also took forever, but not all pages. So the login page, like that works. I could even log in. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't checked talks. Yeah, talks, that totally works. Workshops, that works. So I realized, or what I was thinking is like, there's something wrong with the fly infrastructure or something. I did misconfigured something. That is not the case, because obviously some of these pages work. And the common thing for pages that don't work is that the pages that don't work are the ones that have blog recommendations at the bottom. So I think the Call Kent podcast, this does not work because at the bottom, I have 3 blog recommendations. If you go to the Call Kent podcast and scroll down here to the bottom, you'll see these blog recommendations. To get those blog recommendations, we have to actually download all of the blog content, process all of the front matter so we can get the title and the read time and all of that stuff. So we have to compile all of that, and then we shove it into a cache so it's fast. And so the problem is that we couldn't, like, that process was halting somewhere. And I added a silly amount of logs, and this is where the learning piece probably could have come in, because the problem is I can't reproduce this locally. Everything works just fine locally. So I'm still actually not sure. We're going to have to work out this, but I'm not exactly sure why this isn't working the same in both places. So we are going to have to do a little bit of work. But what I did is, because you can't reproduce it locally, I have to deploy it, and I don't have my dev tools to do that. And so I went into my node modules, and I did this first in Remix, and I went through Remix server runtime, and I added a bunch of console logs that are very similar to this. Console log, number, category, and then information. That's basically what I did in server runtime, just like boom, all over the place, in places where things were happening that, like, I wanted to make sure were happening properly. And I found out Remix is doing everything right. It's all of the things that Remix is doing are working. And so then locally, that was when I realized, oh, locally, here, actually, let's run it locally. Here, on localhost, waiting a second for this to, yeah, okay. And so I noticed that locally the transparency page wasn't working. And so I was like, okay, that's weird. So maybe it's MDX is the problem. And hold on, transparency. Yeah, it looks like transparency page is still not working on here either. Whoops. If I add fresh, then it forces the cache to get updated, but only if you're authenticated as the admin. So you can't do that. I can. So sorry, just 1 second. I just noticed the thread has been created for this live stream. So if you want to chat and ask questions or whatever, you stick it in here. Yeah, questions that are related to what we're doing today. I'm not, if you want to ask other questions, that's what office hours is for. You can learn that about that on my site. Yeah, so, and by the way, I ignore YouTube comments. So if you're on YouTube in the live chat or whatever, I don't look at those. Okay, yeah, so the transparency page wasn't, looks like it still doesn't work in production, wasn't working locally. And so I was like, oh, there's something wrong with processing MDX. Like we got to look into that. And so when I have my dev server running, I actually run it with, where is this? Huh. I thought that it would log out that it's running. Well, here's Prisma to do. Huh. Yeah, it should actually, I thought it logged out, indicating that it was set up to do some debugging. Because if we look at, where is my, I can't even remember what the thing is called. I think it's in other. PM2, here we go. So my server, I start it with inspect, the inspect flag, which allows me, so this is started with node inspect. That allows me to open up the dev tools and this thing pops up and I can click on that and then I can go through here and see the sources. I've got breakpoints all over the place. I just put them all over the place. And I finally found that things stopped working. Oh yeah, I went through Cachefied too. I was like, maybe there's something wrong with Cachefied. And what I found was I actually reused the same cache key for two different things. In my MDX here, it was this one. So get MDX page, this was the same as compile MDX cached. So yeah, that was just a mistake that I made forever ago. My implementation of Cachefied, my original implementation, didn't actually care and somehow it magically worked. I'm not even sure how that was possible because what is returned by both of these is something completely different. This does not return an MDX page, it returns like something completely different. So I'm not even sure how that worked, or at least I think it's completely different. Maybe it just happens to be the same. I don't know. I'd have to look into it and I don't care enough. But the fact is that those two were using the same thing. So what happened, and they actually are in, one of them is in the other stack trace. And so, yeah, it's right here. So get MDX page goes into compile MDX cached, which is actually what's getting returned, which is why it ends up being the same. So it ended up working because one calls into the other. And there's a reason that I'm caching both of them. I can't remember why. So anyway, they do end up being the same. And so in my implementation, it actually worked fine because I would call one and then I'd call the other and it would return, it would get cached, and the other would return, it would get cached, and it like worked out just fine because it ended up being the same. In the actual Cachefied implementation, they have this really cool feature where if you start a get fresh value for a particular key and then another piece of code says, hey, I want to get that value, it's like, oh, I'm already getting it, so don't bother. And because this one is the one that was trying to get that key, it actually stopped right here. So it's like, let's go through here, and then it came back around and it stopped. So that's why it would hang forever for all MDX. So I fixed that just by changing the key, and then and that's why now locally the transparency page works, and other MDX pages work. Like if I go to team or teams, I think it's teams. No, just team. So yeah, this will also work because it's just an MDX page. But I still in production. Here, and actually, I wonder if the team page works here. Yeah, it looks like the deployed version of the app still, there's a problem there. So I'll have to, we'll look into that together. But yeah, locally the blog works, but in production, the blog does not work. There is one file in particular that is not working that we're going to look at. So I kept on going through and I started adding logs to MDX bundler because I found that like right here is where everything stops. We get into esbuild.build And this is for building the MDX files. And we'd get all the way to running ESBuild, and then we'd never get to ESBuild done for one particular file. And that file is migrate to Jest, this blog post, which was migrated from Medium. So I'm thinking that maybe, because I never like retyped it when I migrated it from Medium. So I did notice like this non-breaking space character or whatever that is in 2 places. So I'm thinking maybe that's the problem. I haven't had a chance to investigate that. But it also looks like the transparency and team pages are not compiling either. So we need to investigate those things. But anyway, in the process of all of this, one other thing that I did to try and reduce the amount of code paths that I went down was I also deployed some resource routes to test things out. So for one, I have this warm cache. I was thinking, actually, this was on my last live stream. I was thinking that maybe it's just taking too long to warm up the cache, and so it's timing out. So what if I just deploy it without warming the cache, and then I just call this to warm the cache? That didn't work because both of these are still halting on that particular blog post. And so I still wasn't sure, like, why is this happening? I need to remove as much stuff as possible. And so I actually even made a, if I go to server index, I made an endpoint in my Express app. So like, let's get rid of Remix. So we'll get rid of Cachefied, everything. We'll just use MDX Bundler directly and make sure that MDX Bundler can run. And that did work. So then I said, okay, well, let's do MDX Bundler with a loader with Remix, and that worked. And so I said, okay, well, what if it's Cachefied? So then I used Cachefied, and that worked. And so then I said, well, okay, what if I use the get MDX page function? And that works. And this is where I discovered that it works for some blog posts and not others. And actually, when I solved the problem with the transparency page, with the cache keys that were shared, when I solved that problem, then the logs actually showed, because I added like a crazy ton of logs for everything, not only in third-party code, which, by the way that I did this, so I could actually deploy this, is I used a package called patch package. And I actually am using this in production for some specific patch, but that's how I was able to deploy my own logs inside of third-party modules, was I used patch package. So yeah, where were we at? So yeah, I just once I solved that cache key, then I saw in the logs that a bunch of these things were actually properly getting run, and very fast, like in just a second for each one of them, like download GitHub and then go and compile and all of that stuff. That all happened very fast. It was when, and then it would stop at that one blog post. So I thought, oh, well, maybe that's the problem. And so I added this resource route that just says get MDX page. It doesn't do anything else, just get MDX page for that slug. And so now I can go, do I not have it anywhere here? Yeah, so I can go to KCD staging, resources, test, compile, and then any one of these, and I can see the compiled version, and I can see, okay, so this totally works. Nothing wrong with that one. And then I can go migrating to Jest. And this one hangs for 30 seconds. That was actually another thing that I did in my cache server down here. Or wait a second. No. It's compile MDX. So here, this is something I did a long time ago. I realized that trying to compile a bunch of MDX files in parallel was a problem, because these are using ESBuild, which is already using a bunch of threads and whatever else. And so trying to run things in parallel with ESBuild was no good. And so I added this queue thing where I could only run one at a time. And so even if you call it with like 30, it's only going to just run one at a time. So that way the rest of my code can pretend everything's in parallel, but this will ensure that it only runs one at a time. So what I did was, I didn't like the fact that it times out, or that it just like goes on forever and would halt any further ones. And so I added this timeout. But I also added throw on timeout because if it times out, it's probably not good. But I think I'm going to turn this off temporarily to see if we can just get past the one that's busted and see if the rest of them are working. So we'll look at that in a little bit. But yeah, so I added that, and so now this will eventually time out with an unexpected server error because this will end up throwing. So yeah, that was Amir is saying it sounds like it ruined my weekend. It was actually okay. I spent some of this I did while my kids were falling asleep, and I was sitting there with them waiting for them to fall asleep on like I think Friday evening, and my wife was out, or maybe that was Saturday. And then, yeah, it was mostly like Friday night, I think, while the kids were falling asleep, and maybe Saturday a little bit when my wife was out. So it wasn't like a ton of time, but there was a bit of work. It took a bit of my time. Okay, so with all of that said, I'm sorry that I did that. I want to live stream all of this. But I just really it was like bugging me, and I couldn't live stream when I was working on it. So there you are, to get you up to speed. That's where we're at. So you got to figure out with this migrating to Jest, what's wrong with this one. And also I want to make sure that all of the other ones work. And so I've got 192 blog posts. And I think I've run this already. Oh, whoops, that is not the right terminal. I have run this already, but I don't think it worked, or something's weird about it. So we're going to run it again. There we go. It just doesn't seem like that's 192. Like eventually it stops squishing them, and it just like keeps going. There we go. Okay, so newspaper code structure, definitely the oldest. First timers. How do I do? These do look like my oldest posts. Okay, yep, this one's hanging forever. Eventually that will time out after 30 seconds. Yeah, there we go. Migrating to Jest definitely is busted. Okay. I should have counted to make sure that they all pulled up, but I guess they did. Like, that was a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. I miscounted. I lost count. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was 192. Why not? So it seems like they all work, except for yeah, except for that migrating one. This is an ad for Apple. Why is it an ad for Apple? Sorry, I don't know why it's an ad for Apple. Okay, so the other thing I want to test though is it looks like we're having similar problems with the team page and other MDX pages. So we're going to get rid of this, get rid of that. That page is definitely busted. So I'm going to add in here the ability to have a content dir. So it'll be content dir slug. And so now I can say params content dir. There we go. Okay, so now I'll be able to check the other pieces of content. So we've got data. Data probably won't work because that's not MDX, but pages and writing blog. Oh, you didn't know I had a writing blog. Yes, I do, but it's not actually published anywhere. It used to be, but on my old site, but yeah, I haven't put it anywhere. Oh, 150 tabs open, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I never opened that many tabs until today, I guess. But okay, this should do it for me. So, content dir now. Let that be a thing. And now this will be blog. That's where that's going to be busted. Another thing that I added was this ability to specify a GitHub ref, so that I could have this point to dev instead of main, so that I can like make changes in the dev branch and see those reflected in the deployed thing, which will be nice in the future if I want to like work on a blog post and see it deployed and stuff, even though I do have a draft capability. But anyway, so that takes some time. This is part of what made it so frustrating debugging, is because I can't reproduce it locally, so I have to deploy it to production. And it takes, I whittled this down to just the minimum stuff that I need, but that includes a Docker build, which takes some time. And so, yeah, this takes 5.5 minutes-ish to deploy, which is a real bummer, a real pain. So while we're waiting for that, I'm just going to clean up some stuff here. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, so I just want to figure out, hold on a second. I've still got localhost running, right? Yep, I do not. Yeah, okay, so we're going to go fresh. Yeah, so the thing is, it does work locally. Yeah, that is all correct. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I also upgraded my Docker file to use Node 18 because I was just like, why not? Everything else is busted. So yeah, maybe there's something weird about the Docker container. And the problem is that I can't run Docker. Like, maybe I need to upgrade Docker. How do you upgrade Docker? Docker help update Docker. Okay. Update or where I think I've installed it with brew upgrade Docker. I don't think that's brew. Oh, which Docker? I think maybe it's installed through, or ll user local bin Docker. That, whose idea was that? There we go. Docker. Yeah, I installed Docker through the desktop app. So if we go to the desktop app and check updates, download update. I am not very far behind, so I don't know. It's downloading the update now. Okay. Where is that running? Yeah, I don't need you running right now. Okay, so these are just the old Docker compose stuff for Postgres and Redis. I'm not using those anymore. So now we've got our images. Is this, no, that's, clean up. What is that? No, never mind. Okay, anyway. Update and restart. Here we go. Because it would be really nice if I could just run this locally and not actually deploy it. And if it like reproduces locally, would be super, super nice. Okay, it looks like that finished. So now I can go here. That'll time out. But this also means I can go to, is it pages or pages? Teams. There we go. Yeah, pages, teams. Is it teams or team? Teams. Transparency. Transparency works. That's interesting because I didn't think transparency page worked. Something else is blocking it. All right, let's look at the logs. Fly logs, app, KCD, staging. Okay, so yeah, so this is happening for migrate to jest. Oh, okay, so the teams, does Teams have blog recommendations at the bottom? I hope so. Huh. Interesting. I wonder why. It appears that when I go to Teams here, it's trying to bundle migrating to jest, and I don't know why it would do that. Let's try this again. Yeah, so get MDX pages in directory for blog. Yeah, that's nothing. Fresh value. Yeah, so I'm not sure why Teams is doing that. Oops. Slug, TSX. It does. Yeah, that's right. Blog recommendations. Where does that end up? Oh, it's for the catch boundary. That's right. So for the 404 page, it's like, hey, I didn't find what you wanted, but here's some blog posts that you could. Okay, that makes sense now. That's interesting that transparency seems to work, though. That's for the catch boundary. What can be caught? I think probably, oh, it's right there. So I don't need block recommendations unless there's no page. Well, let's just, make this little optimization. Still a little confused though. Like, how does the transparency page work? I'm not sure how that worked. I'm not gonna think too much about that until later when I find out that, oh, I really should have. Okay, well, so that does that. Let's see. So I'm pretty sure it really is just that blog post. Almost makes me want to just delete it and move on with my life. But I really want to figure out why this is happening. Just on a whim, let's see if maybe this is the problem. Turn that into a real space. Who knows? It just could be some weird thing in that Docker container or something. Speaking of Docker container, let's take a look at, oh, I just realized I don't have centered running. Okay, we're getting an update. Speaking of updates, dashboard. Okay. Docker version. Here, actually, let's start a new terminal session in both of these. Okay, Docker version. Okay, I don't know what that means actually. Like, what is the latest version of Docker anyway? Docker version. Release notes. I need to find the latest version of Docker. Yeah, there we go. That looks like the latest. Hey, that was released on my birthday. Okay, Docker build dot. See what happens now. Maybe using Node 18 will fix it. I was having npm or node jip problems, which is npm related, so maybe, I don't know. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, and while we're waiting for that, let's find our other. Okay. Uses. Okay. Office hours and meetups. Clubs. Live info. Wow, that's quite the banner blur data URL. Okay. Appearances, conduct. I think I got the rest. Okay. Cool. So it literally is, yeah, I got transparency, right? Yeah, it's literally just migrating to Jest. That is being a weirdo. Something weird about this file is making it so ESBuild can never finish. It could be the Twitter embeds, because that does happen as part of the ESBuild. Let's just open all of these. Here, let's do this. Make sure I get them all. Whoops. Nope, that's gonna not work. Well, we'll fix it in post. Where's that? Oh, see you on Twitter. Okay. Okay, and open. Okay, then we go to here, run that. All right, they are all still there. Hey, fun fact, see this? How it has a little tiger? This is the first workshop that I had an emoji guide you through the pieces that you're supposed to do. I had this markdown file, and I was writing all of this, and I was like, man, there's just like a lot of text in here. People need to know like when they're supposed to actually do something. And so I made Terry the Tiger. So yeah, and it worked great. I'm not sure why I changed to Cody the Koala, but yeah, this was the first time I ever used an emoji to guide people through a workshop. Fun stuff. When was that? Or actually, it would be the tweet, February 2016. I've been doing it for a while. I just realized I haven't looked at Twitter once yet this morning because I uninstalled Twitter from my phone and I haven't had time to look at anything else yet. Okay, so let's see. Try this again. No dice. So those spaces did not do a thing. Teams works now though. What did I change? Oh, right. Yeah, the catch boundary thing. Transparency. That works now. Ta-da! So that's nice. So yeah, should we just delete the blog post and move on with our lives? I don't know. I want to figure this out. But I want to move on. I just want to move on. What is wrong with this blog post? The problem is that I've gone as far as I can with these logs, because once you get into esbuild.build, then it's like it goes into the ether and it's in like Go binaries and stuff. Now I do have plugins and things that I could look at. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to make sure that this this thing works. I don't even know if this works yet. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple things. Migrating here. Let's just do duplicate. Just 01 and 02, 03, 04. We're going to do a bunch of these, and we're going to just have it, each one of them have a different piece. We're going to do a bisect, which basically says separate this into a bunch of different sections, smaller pieces, to find which one of them has the problem, and then narrow it down further and just keep going. And then the problem is, if none of them have the problem, that could be a challenge. So all of them, I think, well, no, we'll just have the first one. No, they all need to have this stuff at the top. So they'll all keep this stuff at the top. And if they all are broken, then maybe there's something wrong up here. Okay, so then this one will go from here down. This one will go here up, and then from here down. And the caption, oops. This will go from, get rid of that, and go down here. This one will go down, get rid of that, and go down here. This will go down. Did I capture that one? Yeah. So go to there and down to here. This will come down to the migration. Oh, I still don't have centered running. Good grief. Restart. See, when centered is running, I have nice music going in the background. My own voice is encouraging me, which is pretty weird, but I like hanging out in the group where like my friends are and stuff. So, okay. And I'll get rid of this. And then we'll go here to here, and this will go down to there. This goes down to, was it worth it? And gets rid of stats and all that. This goes down to stats and gets rid of conclusion. And then this goes all the way down to conclusion. Okay, cool. Yeah, and no JIP problems with, man, I don't know what's wrong. Docker is supposed to make it so it all is the same everywhere you are, but it's not. Yeah. Split up migrating to Jest. Yep. All right, let's get that thing deployed. Yeah, I really have no idea. This is so strange. And somebody else actually tried to run Docker on this and it worked for them. So something weird about maybe M1 chip or something. Could be that. Latest version of Python. Yeah, I don't know. You see, this should all be inside of the Docker container. I don't know. No, Amir, you are definitely not the only one not enjoying Docker. Docker is a mess. I do not get it. This would be so much easier if I could do this locally. Okay, and requests are automatically passes query params. Yeah, so I think I tried that. So this actually might not work because I might be doing this wrong. Okay, GitHub server. Don't save, I don't need that. So if I do ref here, this is still going to return that promise. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the way you're supposed to do that. And then ref here. Yep. But then I also do a GitHub request here, but this doesn't need a ref because it's a file SHA. So I might have been doing that wrong. And we probably should push this again. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Fix query param. Okay, I'm not going to push that yet because maybe what I did just works on accident. So if I push it, then this will get canceled, and we don't want to cancel it. So we'll just wait, and then I'll push it once that is done. This should work now. Hooray! And it's freaking fast. Like this server in Denver, like that. Bam, bam, bam. What does this have to say about its speed? Network. Bam. Oh, of course it's going to be slow when I am trying to measure. Or maybe it's deploying right now and it shouldn't take a long time when it's deploying, but it can, I suppose. something weird is happening, maybe. I think actually there is, what might be happening now is it actually takes the server down and then holds requests and then brings the server up and then sends the request maybe. And there's a way to stay intentional. Yeah, thanks. There's a way to have it like bring up the server, and then when that one's up, just swap. And I don't think I have it configured to do that. So, but that should be just about done. In fact, I think I can push now. Okay, boom. There we go. 100 milliseconds. Yeah, pretty consistently, 100 milliseconds, I get this response. I don't know, folks. That's pretty dang fast. Like, this is authenticated too. Look, there's my picture. Authenticated response every time. For goodness sake, people. I mean, it's not doing a crazy ton of stuff, but it's not doing a little either. Yeah, that's not going to work, but this one should. Hooray! Courses. Yeah, this is actually dynamic too. I could update and add a testimonial to this and not have to redeploy, because that's also content, which is pretty sweet. And still, bam, 121 milliseconds, 129, 112, 104, my goodness. Dynamic data. You don't need a CDN here. Let's go to kentcdots.old.netlify.app. Okay, just warm up the cache a little bit. Go all these pages. I mean, that's not slow. Like, it's fast. But look, 279. That one, 46. There you go. 47, 48, 50. So CDN only, that's pretty good. But take a look at what's happening here when I load it. You can't even see. Here, let's go to this page. Loading workshop details. Loading workshop details. It's still fast, right? 46 milliseconds. Oh, but I have to do this loading workshop details nonsense because I can't do that dynamically on a server. No thanks. I'll take the 100 milliseconds. And if it really was that important to me, I could deploy this to Cloudflare or something and get it down to 40 milliseconds, maybe even 20. We've had it lower. So, yeah. Boy, 2,363 workflow runs. Thanks, GitHub. Okay, I need to stand up. Okay. Oh, wait, that deployed, right? So I should be able to test this. Oh, one. This may, if this, haha, okay, so it did work. Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got to have one of these not work. Now 4 works, 5. If they all work, then we're in trouble. It'll be a lot harder to find. 9. Uh-oh. This is the last one. And it looks like it's not working. So that's good. That is good because it means we found the section that is causing this post to fail. And it's something in here. And I'm not sure what, but it is something in there. Yep. That's going to time out. Oh, sweet. So now, I know that this section up here worked because it worked in all the other ones. What is it? Maybe it's the fact that this is at the end. Huh. Okay, well, let's try a couple theories. Whoops. Just gonna stick this in all of them, and then we'll change each one slightly. I'm so glad we've found the one that's bested. Okay, so first we'll just remove different lines. Yeah, see you on Twitter. Okay, and then for this one, more stuff after the tweet. Maybe that's the problem, like it can't be the end. I don't know what else to try. So we'll take a bigger section. Yeah, whatever, that's good enough. Oh, one other thing, workflow, refresh content. This should work on dev also. Refresh, change content. Yeah, so this is just going to that. I need to know, have some way of knowing. Ref. Okay, GitHub action ref. You know what, this isn't important right now. So we'll just delete this and we'll come up with this later. More variations. What's cool though is as soon as I push, that content is available. So I can go to O1 and fresh. Boom. Okay, O1 works 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5's hanging. What's 5? Yep, 5 is the problem. It is the tweet at the end. Okay, and if I put something after the tweet at the end, okay, 6 is also being a problem. So it's just it's that tweet, maybe. Huh, that's interesting. It's not even expanded. This sometimes happens if Twitter, I hit like some sort of threshold with Twitter when it's being refreshed. And so these don't get expanded or whatever. So this is easy. I just delete that tweet. But I just want to see what happens if I try to refresh this in production. Yeah, those tweets don't none of them get expanded. That is very strange. I'm not sure why. We can look into that problem later. But here's an easy solution. We're just going to delete that tweet, and I'm not going to worry about it because it's stupid. Migrate jest. Go. You're doing a phenomenal job. Thanks, Kent of the recording. Commit. Fix migrating to jest, maybe. So it appeared to be that specific tweet. It was just not happy. Oh, you know what? I bet I know what it is. I'll bet you I know what it is. Okay, so if we go to that tweet, you notice it has this right here. If we go to that, we get an error. So what my Twitter embed thing does, Twitter server here, gets the metadata, and metadata, where's the metadata? Yeah, get metadata for the long link. Where's the long link? Yeah, so I unshorten a short URL. And that actually makes a request, a head request to that URL. And so when that happens, we're making a connection to this page, which is no longer up. And that's probably what's happening in production. I'm not sure why it still manages. Oh, I bet I know why. And that's why these aren't expanding. It's because this is cached. So what happens is if it's cached, then, and so if it experiences an error, then it'll just return the cache version. And so that's what's happening. I'm running fresh. It experiences the error, returns the cache version. That's why these won't ever expand, because we're always getting the cache version. So by having this tweet that has a URL that doesn't complete that head request, the whole thing blows up. It doesn't work at all. What's strange about this, though, is I should have this handle embed error. Oh, but that is different. Use Twitter transformer. Yes, so this, I need to have a handle error for that. Handle error. We've got a handle error. Handle embed error. It should apply to the Twitter transformer. I'm not sure why it's not. But yeah, that seems like there's something there. Maybe something wrong with calling this function or something. But I don't have the time to dive any deeper into this. I'm pretty confident that's the problem. So now if we go to migrate to jest, then, and fresh, maybe, no, it should be doing a fresh. Did I push? Well, here, we'll figure that out in a second. That worked. Great. Thanks a bunch. Let's put what I did. Okay. Cool. Well, here's that. So this shouldn't matter. It shouldn't need to deploy because this should be going to whatever's on GitHub right away. So something is not quite right. We're going to add one other thing. It could be that that's not the only tweet that has problems. one's fine. That one's fine. That one also fine. Also fine. Just YouTube. Yeah, the rest of the tweets seem fine. So what we're going to do now is contender get content dir slug ts. So this will just get me the page files. Download MDX files cached. Contenter, slug, and options. Okay, let's try that now. Add get content thing. This is files. Okay, that way I can make sure that the content that it's compiling is what I expect it to be. But I feel like we're pretty close. I felt that way a lot of times though, so who knows for real. Okay. All right, so while we're waiting for this, let's go to refresh content. We'll say dev, and then we'll say ref. And we'll say GitHub action ref. Oh, hold on. I'll look at something. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Did that work? There we go. GitHub.ref. That's what I thought. Refs heads branch name. So then in our refresh change content, we can say let's see, base URL, process env GitHub. I think that's actually set for me is what it was saying. Yeah, I think I could just, oh, ref name, short name. Yeah. That's nice. Let's do that. Okay, so get rid of this. And this also. Whoops, space URL. There we go. Cool. I think we are. Oh yeah, I should probably figure out how to do this better. So if I get rid of this, that means I can do, yeah, we can get rid of this. Yeah, that should probably be moved to, all of these should be moved to the resource directory, but that's not a big deal. Yeah, this should work now. Make refresh, or yeah, refresh content work on dev. Okay, let's see. Great, so now we have this get content. Good. Okay, so we have the content. It doesn't have the thing at the end. So now if I say Test compile. Come on, man. I thought that this, oh my gosh, it works. Hallelujah. Okay, so now, if I go home, oh, yes! I am Spartacus. Yes, hallelujah. My goodness. So it was just that tweet. And now it's building up my cache. Should just take a second. Yeah, so this is why I cache my queries for post reads. Every single blog post results in 9 queries so that I can show the team rankings. There probably is a more efficient way to do this, but this is what I got. So yeah, it does take a while, but it's going to finish eventually. Because this all get cached anyway. All right, it's still running. It just timed out, I think. And SoFly's like, this is taking too long. We're gonna just stop it. Give me 500. But it's still like the logs are still going. So once those are done, then we'll be good. Beautiful. Did you know you could do that? Look at the routes. They're changing, synchronized with this UI. That's pretty cool. I've talked to some pretty stellar people. Yeah, I still got to fix scroll on these two. Oh my word, it is so gratifying that this is finally working. Okay, cool. It looks like the blog, blog. Boom, nice and fast, all cached. Oh, what a beautiful day this is. And now, migrating to dev. Whoa. Oh, right, yeah, migrating, there we go. To just and all those tweets are expanded. Hallelujah. My goodness. What a day this has been, folks. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to just take a moment to be really happy about that. And then yeah. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to look at what it takes to get this running multi-regionally. And so that finally we can get to LiteFS. I think that this will just work, but I'm going to take a lunch break. I'm actually going to go out with the family for lunch. And when I get back, then I'll start a live stream again. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being here when I finally get this thing working. And yeah, this was a good stream. We'll see you this afternoon.